Hello, everybody. My name is Todd Miller. I am joined by Thomas Schisler. We are here in a new series called The Modern Software Developer. So we're really stoked about this. We are both professional Scrum trainers for scrum.org, both of which are really passionate about the Applying Professional Scrum for Software Development class. Right, Thomas? How you doing today, Thomas?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm doing great, Todd. Great to be on the show.
Yeah, it's great to see you as usual. So I think what we start with, Thomas, is we start by showing the GitHub repo. One of the things we do in the Applying Professional Scrum with Software Development classes, this class operates in a series of sprints, right? It operates in a series of sprints, and students get to choose which technology they want in a lot of instances. So I'm going to hide my screen. I'm going to share my screen here and just show what this GitHub repo looks all about.
And I think that's already a point mentioning and pointing out that in the APSSD and the Applying Professional Scrum for Software Development course, we are actually using a case study, which is software. So our students are building software during the training by using the Scrum framework. And I think that is a fact that makes this a really awesome case. So we're not playing with Lego or with other simulations. We are doing real work with software in the class.
Yeah, and it really brings out a lot of stuff that happens in environments, right?
Yes.
From oh my gosh, we brought too much into the sprint to the 15-minute left in the sprint panic where everybody's trying to get everything done. All these things really emerge in all these really great conversations. And then, of course, the centerpiece of everything is quality, right? And craftsmanship of code.
Or did you have one of those teams that said, okay, we need a first sprint just to refactor the code because the code is so crappy we cannot even get started with it?
Yeah, I think it's so, Thomas, that's a really good point to make. We're going to do a lot with this series, The Modern Software Developer. If you're going out and you're looking at these code repos, keep in mind that these are purposely incomplete, right? There's a lot of lessons learned in these classes. Thomas and I were joking around just before we started recording this that Thomas doesn't want to get a whole bunch of pull requests about fixing a bunch of things. These really are exploratory things. Now we say that, but feel free to clone them and follow along with some of the stuff that we're going to be doing in the series. We talked about just some future topics like test-driven development, pair programming, mob programming, continuous integration, emergent architecture, quality code, DevOps, collaboration, swarming, how we all work together, those kinds of things. That's a centerpiece of all of this, and unapologetically about software development, right? So this is going to be really zeroed in on software development, this playlist.
Absolutely.
Anything else to say about these repos up here? You see we have .NET, Python, Java, Node. There's all kinds of different. Choose your own flavor.
And it's basically all the same tool, the same game that we are using here. So you can already see from the names of those repositories that it's about Battleship. And we have created very similar code bases in various technologies because we want to meet people where they are today. So this course is not about learning a new programming language or something like this. So hopefully people can find a technology where they feel familiar with and that they can clone it and then follow along. So we might use the .NET version for our series here, but if you feel more comfortable, for example, with Node.js, I think you should have no problem with just using Node.js. And what we demo here in .NET and C#, you can transfer very easily into all those other technologies because they use a very similar code base. It's just translated in different languages.
Yeah, and you know what, Thomas, this is reminding me to think of a particular point here is that as we do operate in teams and build actual software during class, this class is not limited just to a software developer, right? We have testers, business analysts, product owners, scrum masters, everybody in this class operating on a cross-functional team getting to done, right? And so you might find yourself in a team of 5 in the class with 2 coders, a tester, a business analyst, and a designer. and all working together to try to accomplish the sprint, right? That's real world. That's the way that we work. So I wanted to call that out too. And I also you said Battleship, like the game, right, Thomas?
Absolutely.
Should we take a look? So Thomas and I actually have, just prior to us kicking out this video, Thomas has an instance of the Battleship for .NET. We're hooked into a live session using Visual Studio. Pretty cool feature in Visual Studio to use a live session. I'm going to bring that up. I'm going to switch over to screens. We're actually going to move over to Thomas's screen, and we're going to check out what's happening with Battleship app. So I'm going to bring that up. We're going to add the Battleship to the screen here and maybe just start walking us through this. Maybe I'll ask some questions too. I'm going to pretend like I haven't seen this before, Thomas.
Yeah, cool. Go ahead.
Yeah. So the game Battleship, right? As in like the board game, Thomas, right?
Yeah, it's like a board game, and so we use a very simple console application. Again, it's not about specific technologies or technical challenges. That's why we use console application here.
Yeah, and so really, as you can see, if you are following along in .NET, your startup project is you want the Battleship that asks you. That's what's going to get you going here, and it'll throw it into a command line or a terminal, really. So there are unit tests that are associated with, right? Your product owner in your class might tell you that they bought something of high quality because of all the unit tests. See, Thomas is building those unit tests right now. That'll be something that we pull on in our series here as we're walking through some aspects of this application. So should we maybe show the terminal a little bit, Thomas? Show what this looks like when it's fired up.
Yeah, I can just start the game here, and yeah, that's how it looks like. So I like to call it a retro game. So because it looks like the games looked in my youth when I was young and playing computer games. So yeah, but that's how it looks like. So we have the console here. First phase of the game is that we have to place our fleet. So I can just do this very quickly here by entering a couple of positions for all the ships I have in my fleet. And after I have placed my fleet, then I can start shooting and try to sink the ships of my enemy.
Yeah, and so in this traditional Battleship game, right, where you have the two boards, you're sitting across from each other. The first order of business is to set up where your ships are, right? In this instance of the game, you set up your ships, and the computers are automatically set up. So it's you versus the computer, right? That's the out of the box. The game is you and the computer. So you have to set up your coordinates, and the computer sets theirs up in the background. And so let's enter a coordinate here. Let's see if we can get a hit, Thomas.
Yeah, where should I shoot, Tom?
How about A1?
A1. Okay, that's a very favorite position here.
And you can see the computer shot C6.
And missed as well. So
yeah, that's good. It's good to computer miss.
Okay, let's try C3. Oh yeah,
nice. Oh, but the computer hit us too.
Oh, that's a pity. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, you can already notice here too, Thomas, that so from a user interface perspective, it's really hard to see the difference between when the computer's shooting and when you're shooting. These are all things that we might take a look at in the series, or you might be asked to improve in class. So just a couple hints there.
Yeah. So what if we try set 3, for example?
C3. Oh, the application crash.
Serious problem occurred.
And so for those of you accustomed to Battleship, the board is only so big. I think our board here goes A through H yes. on the vertical axis and 1 through 10 on the horizontal axis. But as you can see, we might have some work to cut out here. I would say maybe this isn't of as high quality, and perhaps in the future, this could be our first bug that we take a look at.
Yeah, and why don't we probably try a TDD approach to first write some tests to replicate this bug, and then in the next step, fix the bug?
Yeah. And I think you're going to see that in a future episode. But what we wanted to do in this episode, right? Anything else you want to show on Battleship, Thomas, before I start wrapping this up?
I think that currently there's not so much more to show. So you cannot even see when a ship is sunk, or you cannot actually win the game because it just continues on, even if you sink all the positions of your enemy ship. But that is by design, it's incomplete. That's what we ask our students in our trainings to implement there.
Yeah, and hopefully this gives you an opportunity to get maybe download it, get familiar with it, because I think it probably would be good in future episodes to follow along just to take a look at it. But we always have fun with this game in class, Battleship. Our students have fun with it. Hopefully you have a lot of fun with it. As Thomas said, it's purposely incomplete. So don't submit pull requests. We know there's a lot of stuff missing on it. But, as we stated in future episodes, we have a lot of stuff that we really want to dig in and cover, and bring in some other personalities here too. Maybe do some mobbing, see if we can gather some other applying professional Scrum software developer trainers out there in the PST community. But for now, what we're going to ask is that you haven't already like and subscribe. This is a new playlist, an experimental playlist in the Agile for Humans hemisphere of YouTube stuff. If you haven't already, like and subscribe, throw some comments and let us know what you think of the opening of this series, or any topics that you would want to address. That's the best way for us to address your topics, is by knowing what they are. I am Todd Miller for Thomas Schisler. Thomas, thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Todd. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, we can't wait till the next episode.
Absolutely.